Gentlemen, welcome to a realistic natty transformation of over 9 years. This is me when I was 14 years old, right here, okay? 14 years old, a little bit of cardio, a little bit of push ups, a little bit of, body weight stuff just around the house because I was a very active kid growing up. Played a lot of sports, so I had a natural skinny, lean, athletic build to start. My abs are popping so much because of all like the core stabilities you need playing baseball, you need playing football, basketball, soccer, all those sports I played, okay? I played every single sport growing up. Outside all the time, 24/7 just about. If I wasn't gaming, I was outside, okay? So this is what I looked like at 14 years old after playing sports my entire life, okay? A lot of push-ups and ab workouts and running. This complete transformation isn't just going to be about my diet, my training, my whatever, right? It's going to be my entire like what was going on in my life at the time because I think that impacts your physique a ton, right? Okay. So, the beginning. That was before touching weights at 14, okay? At 15 is when I started working out. So, here's some strength training. I had no clue what I was doing. I was just going on YouTube or just, copying my uncle and my dad because those are the two that got me into weightlifting, right? I wanted to get stronger for baseball. I was not worried at all about how my body looked. Okay, I know a lot of people get into, working out for their body. I had no care in the world about my body, right? I don't even have too many pictures from this time period because I did not care about how my body looked. I just wanted to gain weight and get strong so I could hit nukes and I could throw the baseball hard, okay? Now, I know a lot of people start lifting, for vain reasons, maybe girls, maybe things like that. Maybe they feel small and just want to get bigger. I had no reason like that. I just wanted to get strong, okay? Purely for baseball because that's, as you'll find out throughout this entire video, my entire life was revolved around baseball during this whole time period. Now, that did set me back when it comes to bodybuilding and a ton of different stuff because I was so locked in on baseball that it was all I cared about. Okay, so this is 6 months in. 6 months into lifting. Okay, I got a little bit of newbie gains. You can see I gained some weight, right? Throughout this whole video, we're gonna have my before picture right here. All right, so you can see I gained some weight. And when you see me, I gained weight in my love handles a lot. My love handles in my face hold a lot of fat. Okay, I could be leaner than most people, and my love handles will still pop more than the average person's. And not the average person that's fat. The average person that's the same body fat as me will have probably not anywhere close to the love handles I have, and they probably won't have anywhere near like the face fat I have. Okay, because that's where I hold my fat. Don't ask me why, but that's where I hold them. No fat goes in my arms. No fat goes in my chest. Love handles, a little bit of legs, and my face. That's where it goes. So that's 6 months in, a little bit of newbie gains, terrible diet, pounding shakes, pounding gainer shakes, a ton of it. Literally to the point of like my stomach bulging out, and I just would feel like a stomach ache every night. Okay, because at the time I didn't have like cooking skills, and I also didn't really have money to buy my own stuff, and we didn't eat like a ton of food. My whole life I really didn't eat too much food. So really, when my physique took the next level is when I could buy my own food, right? So this is me 1 year in, okay? Not really nothing crazy, right? I'm just training for baseball. Like I don't even know what the heck I'm doing, right? I'm thinking I'm training for baseball. I'm just in there just doing stuff, okay? I had no clue. We didn't have the TikToks, we didn't have like the YouTube as advanced as it is now. We didn't have all that stuff when I was, 14, 15 years old. This is like 8 years ago. So that's 1 year in. That's the beginning of my journey. All right, year two. This is when I started learning about baseball specific training and, doing a lot of research on learning how to throw harder, hit bombs, all that good stuff, right? And I got strong. I got strong. I got pretty strong, especially for my body weight. For my body weight, I was really strong, and this stuff worked, okay? I started hitting bombs as the smallest dude on the team, just about. I want to say the smallest. But, like, one of the smaller guys on the team. And I'm probably like 5'6" in these pictures right here. This is what, sophomore year? Probably about 5'6". And this is when I started, hitting the ball. A lot of doubles, a lot of triples. Not really a lot of triples. A lot of doubles. I had a few bombs, okay? And I got strong, right? In my back and in my legs. And just know that getting strong in the wrong lifts or getting strong in certain lifts, it doesn't correlate to an aesthetic build. As you can see here, my body does not look aesthetic at all, all right? You can see I put on some weight. I'm probably about 140 pounds in this. For reference, I was 110 when I began. So I put on about 30 pounds. People that say, "Oh, I gained 30 pounds of muscle in 1 year." What do you? If you're juicing, maybe, or elite genetics, maybe. But this is me about 30 pounds. Okay, I probably put on about 10 pounds of muscle, right? Maybe 15 pounds of muscle. But I also put on probably just as much fat. Okay, and that's why the love handles are busting. My face is getting round. I just look soft. No really hard cuts, right? Arms have always been a weak point for me. I never really trained it during this time period. I think I just got bad insertions, but they definitely got bigger. So yeah, this is what I'm looking like, right? I even took the bulk pretty dang far. Okay, you can see I get even beefier right here. No chest development because I'm not working out chest. All right. I actually got really strong though. 425-pound deadlift this year. 15 body weight chin ups. Okay, so I was most people can't even do like 5 chin ups, right? I'm sure if you're lifting, you can, unless you're one of the dudes that bulk into, because they want to be so big or whatever heck reason, right? And then training for baseball and strength. That's why I got really strong at these two specific lists, because if you know baseball, you need a strong back, you need a strong core, and you need a strong, legs. Those are fundamental to being able to throw hard, being able to hit hard, right? So I kept bulking up, and this is my junior year. Now, year 3 of lifting, right? I fell off a little bit. You know why? Because I got an arm injury. And this was kind of depressing because, my whole life I've just been so locked in on, baseball, grinding it, practicing all the time. But I want to say I got depressed or nothing. I mean, it was just a little sad. I couldn't work out. I couldn't practice because my arm was like literally affecting everything. Even going to squat, my arm would hurt. So I just completely took a break from lifting for like 5-6 months. I got injured. Diet stayed relatively the same. Okay, my diet was never good during this time period. I focused on getting protein shakes, gainer shakes, all that stuff, right? But I was still eating a lot of junk. I wasn't eating nearly like, most bodybuilders do. And don't get me wrong, these gains I'm getting right here are very slow. A lot of people will get gains way faster. I would have got gains way faster if I locked in my diet, my sleep, my nutrition, all that, my training, all that from the jump. But I didn't know any better at the time. Okay, didn't know any better at the time. If you want to like speed up your progress, you can just do a lot of studying on all this stuff and really learn it up front. I also have a little community down below if you want to check it out. Aesthetic physique program, fat loss program, and a looks maxing program if interested, of course. But yeah, this is year 3. This is my body. Okay, this is me at about probably 170 pounds. If I was 170 now, it would look nothing like this because I got a lot of muscle now, a lot of muscle. But this is me at like 170 pounds. Current body, about to get back in the gym. Foggy, terrible body, estrogenic build. Diet was terrible. My whole life, I moved a lot and didn't eat too much, so I stayed lean until I got injured. So basically, the reason I was lean my whole life is just because I was so active, constantly moving, constantly working out, constantly practicing, constantly running. I was doing all this stuff my entire life. All right, and so as soon as I got injured, of course, I gained some fat even though my diet stayed the same because my activity just went down, right? So I got the estrogenic build. You see my legs, yo. You see them legs? Them legs were busting, boys. And this is my face, okay? Like I said, face is bad. Face is bad. All right. Year 4. This is when my body actually starts to look like I actually am working out a little bit, right? This is 2020. This is when my life changed a lot, and I would say for the better for sure. All right, during the COVID lockdown, I locked in. I was locked in. Don't get me wrong. I had my fair share of gaming. I was playing Fortnite to probably like 4 or 5 a.m., okay? And I'd sleep to 2, 3 p.m. But guess what? I was getting my stuff done, right? I was practicing for like 2 hours. Practicing for an hour with my dad. I would go run every single night. I would throw med balls, and then I would, go work out. But again, in the beginning of the COVID lockdown, we didn't have a gym open. So as you can see in this picture, I'm at my friend's home gym. That was clutch. We did that for like a month or 2, and then eventually the gym opened up. And yeah, the gains were crazy. Right, this is me at the beginning of the year because this is when the fat loss started. If you've seen in like the last side, let's look. Yeah, this is the fat loss beginning. This is me starting to lose some fat, starting to lose some fat, starting to lose some fat. Boom. This is all during 2020. I was locked in. Diet was relatively the same, like I said. Maybe I ate a little bit less. I don't think so. I don't remember too strongly, but I don't think so. During all this time, I'm not tracking my calories either. But yeah, I don't really remember I know my diet didn't change much. Maybe I ate a little bit less, but I'll tell you what, my activity skyrocketed because I wasn't hurt anymore and I was really grinding for baseball. You know, I went harder than ever in baseball and lifting. First cut since I began my lifting journey. So this is about 4 years in of lifting, and I didn't cut once. This is my first time cutting throughout my entire journey. All right, you can see I look like I lift a little bit, right? I look like the dude that has good genetics and didn't touch a weight in his life. That's what I'm looking like right here after 4 years of working out. All right, I got really strict in my baseball lifting program during this time period too. So I was really like hammering deadlifts. I was really hammering reverse lunges. I was hammering sprints. I was hammering mobility, and my baseball ability skyrocketed. This is the best baseball I ever played in my life. This is the best baseball I felt in my life. This is the fastest I ever felt in my life up to this point. Most explosive, most powerful, all that stuff. And it showed whenever I showed up for fall baseball and spring that season. I played the best baseball of my life my freshman year of college up to this point. Um, and, you know, I got the results because I put in the work, right? Super dialed in, right? Like I said. And, you know, some people say you need the weight to be good at sports. Not for the position I played, middle infield. I played like shortstop and second base. Now maybe if you're a pitcher, a third baseman, first baseman, where you really need the power, you know, you don't need as much mobility, speed. You can gain a little bit of weight. But personally, for me, in my baseball career, I should have never bulked up as much as I did. I should have did it much slower. I probably would have been much more effective, much faster, more powerful, more quicker if I didn't bulk up so much during my playing days in high school. But you know, you live and you learn. I didn't know any better. I was just following the advice I seen online. But you know, I found this out. So yeah, this is the year when my baseball abilities really went up, right? And this is what I'm looking like, boys. This is what I'm looking like. Okay, if y'all are 4 years in, y'all should look a lot better than this if you dial in your nutrition, sleep, all that good stuff. If you want to see the little intricacies, like I said, link below. Check it out. All right, let's go into year 5. All right, this is when my physique is like, you know, my physique better than 90% of people at this point, okay? 5 years into lifting, and why is that? I think my fat just got stripped away and I did a little bit of bodybuilding. Yup, the fat stripped off right here. But it looks like, you know, something just happened within this next year, right? And maybe it's the fact I started somewhat bodybuilding, okay? I started doing lateral raises. I started doing a little bit of curls. I started really emphasizing my chest gains. That's the biggest thing this year. I really focused on getting strong on dumbbell press, right? And that's what started getting my chest a little bit better. You know, it's still fairly small here. But yeah, I look like someone that's, you know, you could tell works out right here, okay? Year 5, a little bit of bodybuilding. Now, I'm not following a consistent routine with bodybuilding, especially during baseball season. Whenever baseball season starts, if you play baseball, you know that arm is going to start hurting. You don't be hitting shoulders, you don't hit biceps, you don't hit triceps, all right? At least for me. And I'm somebody that needs to hit it consistently. My arms just don't respond well to stimulus. You know, you got some people that respond really well to stimulus, right? But I didn't when it comes to arms. So I need my arm days. And I didn't have arm days during baseball. Okay. So there we go. That's about 6 or 7. That's about 6 or 7 months out of the year of like not being fully optimized for bodybuilding though, because I was so focused on baseball. And I didn't want to be sore or like hurting for baseball. And I don't want to impede my performance when I was on the baseball field just because I wanted, you know, bigger muscles. And yeah, at this point I'm like, I kind of want to bodybuild, right? Kind of want to bodybuild. Boom, year 6, okay? This is another year of playing baseball in college, but this year I actually struggled a little bit. All right, this is probably the worst I ever struggled at baseball, and I kind of, you know, was a little upset about it, right? If you play sports, you know if you struggle a little bit in the sport, you feel kind of bad, especially if you get benched. And I got benched. Okay, I got benched. I also got injured during this time period too. I hurt my knee. But yeah, I played terrible. Okay, there's simple as that. You know, especially in baseball, it's a sport that's pretty hard. Cause if you get in your head, you're done for, right? But yeah, you can see my frame here. The back is busting. You know why? So much focus on the baseball lifts. Legs are busting. You know why? So much focus on the baseball lifts. I do think my legs are above average genetics though, for sure. Back, I don't know. I just, you know, I've been hammering back for freaking 10 years just about now. And then chest and arms and all that stuff, I've probably only been hammering those for 2, 3 years now. Arms really only a year or two. But chest, I've been at it for a little bit. But yeah, this is me year 6 in the lift, and I got a solid physique. This is like the basis of what my physique looks like now. And I just add size, okay? This is about what I look like now. And you see a lot of progress, right? This is probably about 165 pounds in all these pictures right here. Frame's pretty much set. Just added some size. Legs and back overpowering my physique from years of baseball style workout. Abs are pretty developed, yeah, because, a lot of swinging, a lot of throwing, all that rotation really develops the core. And then, all the deadlifts and squats I've been doing over the years. And don't forget the direct ab training. You can't really see them because I'm not too lean. Probably like 15%, maybe 16% in these photos. I think my leanness gets is it over or under? Overestimated just because my top abs pop out. I think that's just they're really developed and maybe I don't hold fat right there. But I think I'm legit probably 15 to 17% in these photos. I just don't think I hold fat right here. Alright. Year 7. Okay, this is more bodybuilding. Yes, and then the baseball reality hits. I graduated from my JUCO. I played 3 years of baseball there. And then I committed to a 4-year school. And when I was at that 4-year school, I realized, damn, this might be it. This might be it. I got 2 years of baseball left. I kind of went through a little sad mental state, right? And it really impacted my physique. Life impacts your physique a lot, okay? Whatever you're going through life, it's going to affect your diet choices. It's going to affect your training choices, right? It's going to affect your consistency, even though it really never did mine. I've been consistent this whole entire journey, besides when I got injured for like 5 months, all right? And yeah, my mental state during the second part of the year brought me down. This is me during summer, first time at Alpha Land, pretty fun. I thought I was shredded right here, right? Probably more like 14%, 14 to 15%. I think I was highly underestimating my body fat during this time period. I probably thought I was like 10%, but no, this is more like 14, 15, boys. And then yeah, I bulked up. My coat by Santa's bulk though. I mean, I wasn't really bulking. It wasn't really a planned bulk. I was just kind of in a negative headspace of like I don't know what's going on in my life. I'm kind of confused. Yeah. So this is during the fall of that my junior year or my 4th year in college actually. And this is my body, right? It doesn't even look like look how much putting on a little bit of fat does to your physique, right? Just the year before, I'm looking pretty good. Even the year before that, I look even better, right? And then putting on a little fat literally transform your physique to looking so unimpressive. And this is what a ton of people in the gym look like. If you want to max out your looks, max out your physique, you have to get lean. Simple as that. This is 2 years of lifting since these photos right here, and I look way better right here, right? There's no reason you should ever bulk this hard. Like seriously, there isn't. You should never really go past 15%. Now it's up to you if you want to, but I just don't. I personally don't see the benefit. I don't think the literature really shows the benefit either. But yeah, there we go. That is me. Through 7 years of lifting, very unimpressive physique, right? But if you strip away the fat, and then you see some of these bad boys poking through, you see a little jawline poking through, you start feeling yourself a little bit, okay? You start feeling yourself a little bit. This is when we started playing baseball, and I actually felt the joy for baseball again, felt the joy for all the stuff. I looked forward to it. I realized, oh, if I got 2 years left, why am I like kind of sad about it? Instead, I was like, oh, 2 years left. Let's make the most of it. And that's when I started balling out. I had the best season of my career ever. My junior year at this school. Best season I ever had. I batted like a 330. Yeah, like a 330. Made a lot of plays in the field. So yeah, it was overall a really good season for me. And my joy came back in all areas of life. Helped my physique take me to the next step. Right? Whenever you have a joy outside of just weightlifting, like you enjoy baseball, you enjoy your business, you enjoy your work, whatever else. You have a hobby or something you enjoy. It makes your weightlifting career easier and better to follow. It makes your diet easier to follow, right? When you have more to look forward to than just lifting, right? So this is the beginning of the year. After I stripped away a little bit of the fat, obviously. Stripped away a little bit of the fat, and I kept getting a little bit leaner. You can see the veins really popping. I'm not a very veiny person either. It's probably just because I got a pump. And yeah, this is the picture, that's a solid physique, boys. That's a solid physique. This picture, Now, am I recommending this? No, but this picture right here, when I use it on dating apps, slayed, okay? Slayed. I went through a breakup during this time period too. I kind of went through a little bit of bad times, but overall my drive went up. I mean, I became so motivated in life and everything I was doing, and I started to care about my looks more. As you can see, look at my looks throughout the years. These are pretty soft looks, right? My hair, my face. Now, don't get me wrong, I still was probably, above average, but like now, I started recognizing, oh, long hair is the way to go for me. Started experimenting with different looks. I even dyed my eyebrows right here. And my diet finally got a little bit better for the first time in my life. I changed my diet. I actually started eating a lot more eggs, a little bit more beef, right? I wouldn't say I locked in, but I stopped eating out as much. And you can see it in my body. You can see it in my results, right? That is year 8. Now we are where we currently are, okay? This is year 9. I'm currently in year 9 of my bodybuilding journey. And then this is the year my baseball career ended, right? Honestly, it did not hit me as hard as I expected. I thought I would be a lot more shattered and a lot sadder. But, I've realized I have a lot more time to do different things and level up in different things in my life. And life hit, but my personal development, this is the most personal development I've ever had in my life, okay? During this time period, I've become the leanest I've ever been. All right, that means I've become the most disciplined I've ever been. Don't get me wrong, I still slack off sometimes. I've also made more money than I ever have. I learned more about female nature, okay? Because I actually went out and experienced it. Okay, you'll learn a lot when you actually experience it instead of just watching or seeing things, right? I learned a lot about friends and how fickle some may be, and how some secretly hate on you, and then also, not everybody's your friends. And I also learned how to make friends. I also learned how to be better socially and stuff like that. All right, not saying that I was really bad before, but I've had more of a focus and more of a priority on it. Like I said, baseball was a huge priority in my life, and that's really all I was thought about and worried about basically my entire life since I was like 6, 7 years old. Golly, can I stop with the 6, 7 jokes? I just can't. 23 years old and I can't stop. Alright, I also learned about looks maxing. People that say looks maxing and physique maxing and hair maxing, all that stuff doesn't matter. It does. Okay, it does. Now, when it comes to dating, of course, there's different stuff to it. Right, it's more than just that, but everything counts, like I say all the time. And basically, I leveled up every area of my life because I had no more baseball and had a lot more time. So this is year 9. This is me at the beginning of the year right here. And my back, freaking juicy. Alright. And then I decided to get super lean some reason, right? And this is me at my leanest. Probably the leanest I've been in my life since I was a kid. And this is me now. I gained like about 10 pounds since this photo. Look at the difference. Jawline's less sharp. I do look a little bit bigger. I mean, you can't really see. I have a jacket on. But yeah, abs aren't as cut up. Lower abs are gone. Whatever. Still a very solid physique right here. This one, this person looks better. That's 9 years into lifting. It's been a journey, boys. And I'm still currently in this phase. Let's see what we got next. And that's my full journey, fellas. From 14 years old to 23. 110 pounds, 164. I grew a little bit in high school too. This is probably I'm probably like 5'5" in this picture. I'm 5'8" now. So yeah, lifting teaches you a lot about life, and it's fulfilling to see the growth it brings you. It's not just about just lifting in itself. You just grow as a person overall, and you can see it in your physique over the years. You can see like the time periods of your life, right? And lifting goes through different phases, so switch things up and keep the joy there. All right, you want to experiment with every training style. You want to experiment with heavy, low reps, medium, high intensity, low volume, stuff like that. You want to just experiment with everything, see what you like the most, and just do what you're gonna enjoy the most. Okay, don't get too caught up in the science-based lifting. Don't get too caught up in the doing everything perfectly optimal. Okay, don't worry about that. If you want to get seriously lean, though, you have to be strict. Okay, it's not easy. It's not easy unless you're somebody that has a really quick metabolism, whatever. It's not easy. You'll put on 10 pounds a lot faster than you'll lose 10 pounds. All right? It's so much easier to put on weight, especially as you get older. Right? I've realized that. And a lot of people make faster progress than what I have here. I could have made way faster progress if I didn't do baseball and just focus on bodybuilding or whatever. And a lot of people have better genetics. They can touch weight and they'll look better than you do after 4 or 5 years of lifting. My brother, for example, he touches a weight and he looks better than me after me lifting for like 4 years. Okay, you just got genetic freaks, right? Maybe they already have a great physique, or maybe they just have a physique that just needs to touch a little bit of weight and they blow up. That could be you. That could be your friends. All right, just compare yourself to you before, right? Compare yourself to you before, and you'll be very fulfilled. Now, if you're comparing yourself to, all these TikTok people, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds that are genetic outliers, all right? Don't get me wrong, they're probably really locked in with their diet and training, but they're also genetic outliers. You'll be a pretty, upset fella, right? Upset fella. But yeah, that was a fulfilling journey, boys. Very fulfilling journey. If you're interested in joining my community, link below. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. This is what a realistic, non-year, natural physique transformation looks like. Peace.